journey to the southern region of Africa, and of course make a line in South Africa, the Republic of South Africa. And while we're in South Africa, we are going to take a trip to Johannesburg, a very, very great city. And in that city, we have a gentleman who loves his art. I mean the art of reporting. His name is Solomon Atah. Solomon Atah is our permanent correspondent from South Africa on this show. And of course, Solomon runs the South Connect. And at exactly 27 minutes past 11 in the city of Columbus, we should be 27 minutes past 5 out there in Johannesburg. Let's join Solomon with today's contribution from that end. Solomon, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Ernest. Welcome to you and your listeners to Johannesburg. Ernest, the city of gold, that's how it's locally called here. Ernest, today I will be talking to you about, just giving you some tidbits about the history of women and women's contribution to national life in this country.
Right.
Ernest, this is still August in South Africa, like I reported last week, is the National Women's Month. So the national story of South Africa would be half told without the contribution of women. And some might say that this particular story, this particular country is where it is today because of the contribution of women. It is not an exaggeration. So let me share some few examples with you. And honestly, these are just the tidbits of the story. And it is true that women are indeed the backbone of every society. Perhaps we just do not take the opportunity to celebrate them as often as we ought to. And during the height of the brutal and oppressive apartheid years, most times the men of these countries, especially those that were politically involved with the anti-apartheid activities, were either underground or in prison or in exile. It was the women of this country who hold the fort together, as it were, making sure that the family was cared for. These were the mothers who raised the children, who today are in fact those of whom are running the country, and also participated at the forefront of the struggle against apartheid. And then you have to appreciate that these comments are just the tidbits, and they are in no way the full story of the history of women in building this country. Today, women are at all spheres of government and public life. There are women in business and leadership, and continue to advance the cause of other women and contribute to society and nation building as a whole. Ernest?
That's good, Solomon. So who are some of the prominent South African women that come to your mind as far as the history of that country is concerned, Solomon?
Ernest, there are a lot of these women, but I'm just going to mention some very key figures as far as I'm concerned. And this is by no way the full picture, but someone like Ma Albertina Sisulu, this is a very prominent woman whom in her days she has now passed on, was at the forefront of the women's struggle. Someone like Ma Mbeki Epinet, who is also the mother of former President Thabo Mbeki, and Lillian Goy. These three women, to me, represent the pinnacle of women leadership in this country. And even today, Ernest, they have continued to be a shining light to all of the other women that are now in public life in South Africa. And just among those top three women that I've just mentioned, Ernest, we have a lady and a woman like Ma Winnie Madikizela Mandela, who is the ex-wife of the world icon Nelson Mandela. She has been considered and referred to sometimes as the mother of the nation. You will remember some of the fiery speeches that she gave from all the places where she went and the fierce interviews that she gave. So and these four women represent, according to me, in my very, very limited knowledge of South African history, some of the key figures in the women's struggle. And today, civil society, the spirit of activism has been shown in the life of South African women since the apartheid years. Today, women continue to participate, a lot of women, even fiercely in civil society activities such as trade unions and other spheres of public. It is interesting to note, Ernest, that this is a tradition that seems to have been passed on from generation to generation. Even today, there are different sets of challenges. Issues of gender violence, issues of environment and peace building remain key areas where women are continuously involved. Ernest?
So, what sort of positions do women occupy in that country, especially in public life and politics? Any examples?
Ernest, in fact, there are a lot of examples. Let me just take you through a few of them, and so that your listeners can get some kind of an idea how it is here. Ernest, the second in command in South Africa, because you know South Africa is a constitutional or parliamentary democracy, is a lady by the name of Ma Baleka Mbete. She is the Speaker of the National Assembly. Right. And also the other House of Assembly, which is considered some kind of like a Senate, like in the case of the United States, here it's called the National Council of Provinces. It's also headed by a lady by the name of Kandi Modise. So, and there are several women, I think almost a third of the MPs in the National Assembly in South Africa are women. There are women ministers and deputy ministers. There are women premiers as well. And I need to just draw your attention, you and the listeners, to some of the Chapter 9 institutions that are also headed by women. These are institutions that are considered in the Constitution under Chapter 9. So we have a lady by the name of Advocate Tuli Madonsela. She is a public protector. So she heads the Public Protector Office. So, and also the IEC, the Independent Electoral Commission of South Africa, was headed by a lady by the name of Pansy Klakula. Now she's under pressure because she's on absence of leave. And it just gives you an example of women that are occupying very top positions as far as the memory can serve me in this country's public life. So, and then there are also women, I must mention, in business. Several women are active in business, as we can also have women occupying several seats on boards of big companies at the highest level in South Africa. Although the quotas are not yet met in terms of the Millennium Development Goals, there is evidence that this country is on the right path as far as the advancement of women's rights and gender equality is concerned. Ernest?
Solomon, I haven't really heard much about South African women occupying positions on the international stage. Do we have any?
Indeed, Ernest. I mean, South Africa is a very strong brand country as far as representing the continent is concerned. And I have two women that I would like to mention to you and your listeners. The first is a lady called Navi Pillay. She is currently the United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees. So that is a key position that a South African woman is occupying at the international scene. The second lady that I would like to mention is Pumzile Mlambo. She is at United Nations Women. And as you have to remember that she was also the deputy president of South Africa when Jacob Zuma, who is now our current president, was relieved of her duties under Thabo Mbeki. So, and then there you have it. Those are some of the key ladies as far as this country is concerned, as far as I can remember. There are millions and millions of South African women that have done incredible things. I mean, just off my mind, and there's a lady like Charlize Theron, who is a very big ambassador of South Africa, who won the Oscar award for Monster some years ago. So just to name these few. And that's it from South Connect in Johannesburg, where the sun has just gone down now under the horizon. And I shall be speaking to you again next week of what would have made some news here.
Solomon, catch you on this show next week for what would have made news out there in Johannesburg and, of course, the entire South Africa. I'm so glad to hear that there are countless South African women who occupy front seat positions in that country and even on the international stage. And talking about women who do great things, our main guest in this edition of African Cocktail, Reverend Dr. Takuzi Doreen, is just one of them. We've been having a conversation with her since